Hey guys, today we'll be covering 2014 movie called Delia. The movie opens up at the young girl named Syria breaking up in the morning and talking to a picture of the Hansen film stock crime scene where a young girl who doesn't care that anything been put in its rightful place, repairs are practiced in their play that one can only imagine. After preparing her practice, she picks up the cooking pan and sits on the dining table to have behind in your practice. She hears her cousin Ter fighting with the water guide who parked his vehicle in front of his place to start. Delia does not think twice and pours a jug of hot water and Ter suing him away from the street. Following next, Delia talks with her friends from the colony that not in hot and asked them to join her in visiting a fortune teller later. Celia asked her mother Hazel surrender some money. Hazel refuses right away, so Delia is forced to steal money from her grandmother's store while she's busy doing her prayer. Weirdly see such a stopwatch for 10 seconds and mentioned that if she's able to climb downstairs in time she will need a lot of her life. Surprisingly, she succeeds in doing, sent downstairs to meet up with her friends and continues on her way to the fortune teller partner way. She need to fill a man who is trying his best to start up his old car. File has an old cassette, wishes and good luck to repair his car. In the next thing, Celia and her group approach the fortune teller in Aspen to predict or feature under. The fortune teller suggests they do a reincarnation process to learn what they were like in the past life, but Syria scolds and telling them they don't want to know about their past lies about the future. Shortly after, the fortune teller tells Celia everything about her family and how she was raised as a boy. Fearing that Celia gets angry and attacked the fortune teller, urging him to reveal a somewhat lower lover. Afraid, the fortune teller looks around and tells her that she will soon get hooked up with the young man whose names include the letters C and now. As soon as Delia hears this, she is satisfied and walks out elsewhere. A guy named Small plans to get a photo studio for his younger and handsome brother to melt, who just graduated from a renowned university in photography. Jamal talks with the real estate agent by heat, and despite Trammell not agreeing to this decision because they deal to end photo studio near Celia's ex later, while hiatus threatened to evict an old lady if she does not pay the rent in time, Celia arrives in a taxi telling him that he will have to face her before evicting the old lady from the calling Tom Bull, who is with later in the fight. The following for Syria's defense about people speak away from Syria and takes into the bank to settle their agreement. After they eat, please make the Celia rushes to Peak Shop, aiming to destroy to find stimulant side waiting for his brother. Seeing the handsome young male, Celia changes her mind and decides to walk out, but not before asking Camilla's name. Cindy sugars the name. She remembers the fortune teller mentioning to her how her lover's name contains the letters C and out. Turns back to Camilla, starts imagining him as her lover waiting for her. However, she quickly becomes shy in batches that are placed, leading to no to wonder what just happened. The next morning, Celia freshens up and called Target to meet her downstairs. Multi-million Tom Bull are directing the painter to paint their studio balls. Celia enters her studio and tries to flirt with him. He tells him that she is single and will look great in her wedding dress. When the painter yells at her for ruining the recently painted walls, she yells and threatens to beat him up. Upset, she walks out of the studio, making Hobby a cuff that meant as he did to her. I met while having dinner with the family. Celia refuses to eat food, telling everyone that she is falling in love and is no longer hungry. Her mom asked about the blade. Delia tells of the boy's name is Camille and he is the one who recently rented the unique photos. In the meantime, Kia lies outside drunk and singing, yet to be seen keeping an eye on him from inside her house and take our trips, and falls in the road, and he approaches them and helps them get up. Dante Arctic the first look at her again and kisses her on her cheeks like Tonya, as she is like a yard for a long time. The next day, the brothers decorate the photo studio. Tom Bull proposes a grand opening. Right then, Tom Bull persuade the garlic seller to let him use his might to announce the opening of the photo student Celia Thursday announcement, and later arrived at the studio, along with her friends. She introduces them to Mail and later interrupts him while he's busy taking photos of the late Celia, urges the lady go outside and strikes to proposes, asking Trammell to take her picture. Outside, Care arrives at the stadium, and Hobby approaches and talk about the case from the night before. Unfortunately, Tab belittles Hobby in front of everyone and denies this, and this makes Hobby angry and she storms inside the studio. After some time, Syria again approaches to mail an accident on a date. However, Tua refuses and shows no interest in Celia, making her sad scene. Celia and her friends needed apart for Javu has changed. Her looking is providing pointers to Syria to get closer to two. Syria follows Holly's instructions, but fails to boot to Milk. Because of this, Party suggested we spend time with Tomball and win his heart to get closer to the area, takes the advice and goes on an outing with Tomball to spend quality time together with Tomball, clicking several pictures of her. Here we learn that Tomball is deeply in love. Celia later, when Sirius talking with Hobby and Fat Mother Day, that they arrives and informs him about his upcoming performance at a bar the next day. The following day, as he does in the photo studio, and invite the brothers to the bar to support. After that, Celia returns home to start getting ready to meet. She puts on makeup, changes her hairstyle and meet with her friends. On her way to the bar, unfortunately the ladies are stopped from entering the apartment allotment. Rising to the patient, pretends another watchman very well, and distraction providing invasion of time inside the box. Shortly after 2 million, Tomball also arrived and joined the group to watch Fancy perform. Right then, suggests Celia get on stage and sing for to Milton Preston. Delia agrees, and despite difficulty seem to melt. She dedicates a song to him and start having 62 to know. Tomball believes that Syria is singing for him and blushes. While the area singing, an elderly man cusses. After this makes Mel angry. In a fight ensues between the two. Mixing theory is that I have sleeping when her mother approaches her with an eviction notice handed to her by Faith. Because the best, Celia gets angry and decides to visit Faith at his place. On reaching their feet again, threatens to obey. She has not paid her rent elsewhere, can be seen calling his mother and informing her that he finally found the beautiful girl and wants to marry her. Before hanging up, he asked her to come the next day to visit. Sirius has asked for her hand in marriage. Hearing this, Milk tries to tell them that Celia does not seem interested. Tomball doesn't listen to him. He quickly rushes to Syria, who was with her friends, and informs him that his family will visit her house the next evening or special purpose for seem interested. Celia's house where Tomball has arrived. This whole family. Celia prepared copy for all of them, accompanied by Hobby and Talk. Tomball's mother, on the other hand, does not like Celia and request her husband to break the news ASAP so that they can get out of wasting no time to melt father as Sirius and for his elder son Tomball. During this, theory tries to correct him, telling him that he needs to melt. The family clarifies that they are their task at hand. For Tomball to add insult to injury, Male speaks up and called Syria mental. Delia can no longer bear the humiliation, so she asked Tomball family to get out of her house. As soon as the family stepped out of the house, Celia pretends to take her own life, locked up in the bathroom, and pretends to jump the window, but accidentally falls before and is knocked unconscious. Later, when Celia opens her right, you find yourself in the hospital surrounded by her family and friends. I still get the call informing her that they are convicting the old lady at the coat check at the house. When Celia hears this, she gets up from her hospital bed, decides to stop paid in the following scene stages, forcing at the coach out of his rented house and threatening everyone who is trying to stop Celia. Ryzen snatched his car keys, making him run after when he tries to get the turkey back from Celia. She tracked his head in the car's window. Taking advantage of this, theory makes me announce to everyone that he will not evict anyone from the colony. After some time, Celia speaks with the corruption. We suggest you might have chosen the wrong guy. Is still not able to see the guy who actually loves elsewhere. To know in Small closer shop and head towards their hometown Syringe Day to attend the way. Small tells us to his painter that he misinterprets it and informs a woman in the neighborhood that Tomball is upset and is returning home to get married later. For some approaches Celia while she's talking with her friends and hands her a gift that Tomball left for her as a gift, and find a photo album inside, including her photos with Tomball. Some adorable messages. They also arrives and starts making fun. Right then she realizes that Tomball is the one who loves her, and his name also includes the letters C and N down. She immediately rushes to the photo studio. Becomes that after learning that Tomball is returned home to get married, suggests they go to his face and stop the meantime. Fortunately, Testing arrives in his car and offers them ride elsewhere, We would like to know Tombull are still in Syringe 8 photographing a weapon. Unfortunately my Celia's car tires person on the way. Tealhard somehow manages to stop the football team's must ask for a lift. Syringe. When some police officers stopped the bus to check on something Celia and her group for the small tractor. Unfortunately, the police officers sparked and encased as they are heavy and large in number. The tractor speed is reduced to help Celia reach the wedding and time gems from the tractor to release some white. Think that I jumped. The police officer stopped their car and rescue her. After driving a fair distance, Tealhard tells the others to get down from the tractor and walk ahead while he returns to get everyone agrees. Gets down from the tractor after Tealhard leads. JV flashes her leg and stopped the car asking for Syringe. The group arrives at the wedding and wasting no time, Celia purchased Tombull and confesses her love. Hearing yes, Tombull becomes delighted and asked Syria for a taxpayer and thought my writing time in class for Syria and Tombull. Tealhard apologizes to JV and she forgets. In the movie ends with Betsy singing a song dedicated to all the lovers and the couple out there.